UFC Fight Night Robert Whittaker versus Reiner de Ridder is this Saturday. I'm going through my picks and predictions all the way from the prelim opener to the main event, starting with Martin Buday versus Marcus Buchecha. Martin Buday, he's 15-2. He's 14-1 in his last five, and he's kind of a cage smudger. He just holds you up against the cage all the way to a unanimous decision. Marcus Buchecha, great grappler. He's 5-1. This is his UFC debut. Great jiu-jitsu background. All five of his wins have been by first round finish. Four of them have been by submission, and one has been by knockout, all in the first round. Martin Buday by unanimous decision is my pick. I think he's just gonna keep Buchecha up against the cage. Buchecha's not gonna be able to take him down. Not gonna be able to implement the jiu-jitsu and the submissions. And Buday by unanimous decision. Muhammad Yahya versus Stephen Nguyen. Stephen Nguyen, he's 9-2. He's 0-1 inside the UFC. He's got a good chin. He's a boxer. Muhammad Yahya, he's a can. He's 12-5, but he's 0-2 inside the UFC. It comes from UAE Warriors, which is not the best promotion. I got Stephen Nguyen by early KO. I think Yahya gets caught early by a good combination when he's coming in from Nguyen. So I got Nguyen by KO. Next, Ibo Aslan versus Billy Elikana. Elikana, he's 7-2. He's 0-1 inside the UFC. He almost finished Guskov in his debut. He's a grappler, but he got finished by Guskov. It kind of felt like he gave up in that fight. Ibo Aslan, he's 14-2, 2-1 inside the UFC. All his wins are by KO. He wants to overwhelm you with the striking. He's not the best grappler, but I think he KOs Elikana. I think Elikana is going to get caught. Ibo Aslan is just going to put the pressure on him. Elikana is going to give up probably pretty early. So I got Ibo Aslan by KO. Amanda Ribas versus Tabitha Ritchie. Tabitha Ritchie is 11-3, 3-2 in her last five. She's kind of a control grappler. She wants to just sit there, hold you there for the whole fight. And she's not the best striker, but Amanda Ribas is 16-2. She's 2-3 in her last five. She's a pretty good kickboxer, but she's not the best grappler. And I think Tabitha Ritchie's going to be able to take her down and just hold her there for most of the fight. So I got Tabitha Ritchie by unanimous decision. Davy Grant versus Damon Blackshear. Damon Blackshear is 17-7, 3-2 in his last five. He's a pretty elite grappler with pretty good boxing. Davy Grant, he's 16-7, 3-2 in his last five. He's a striker with a pretty good chin, but I think Blackshear is going to get it by split decision. I think he's going to be able to, get Davy Grant down, kind of dominate the grappling a little bit, and do well enough when they're striking to win by split decision. So I got Damon Blackshear by split decision. Muslim Salikov versus Carlos Leal. Carlos Leal, 22-6. He's 1-1 in the UFC. He's a boxer with pretty good takedown defense. Muslim Salikov, he's 21-5. He's 3-2 in his last five, but he is 41 years old, and he's got kind of a signature move with the spinning wheel kick. But I think he's going to get caught by Leal in the second or third round, and Leal's going to KO him. I think Salikov's getting old, 41, obviously very old for the UFC. I think he's going to get gas out after that first round just because of his age. I think he's going to get caught in round 2 or 3 by Carlos Leal and get finished. So I got Leal by second or third round KO. Next, Bryce Mitchell versus Saeed Nurmagomedov. I got Saeed by unanimous decision. He's a kickboxer with good submissions. He gasses, though. He's 3-2 in his last five. He's 18-4. Bryce Mitchell, he's 17-4, 2-3 in his last five. But then again, one of those is against losses against Ilya Taporia. Another one against Josh Emmett with probably the most brutal KO I've seen in a long time. He's a grappler, and it's his first fight at 135. He didn't need to move down. And Saeed Nurmagomedov, he's going to have the lighter man skill. I don't think Bryce Mitchell is going to submit him. And I think if Bryce Mitchell does take him down, he has a higher chance of getting submitted. So I got Saeed Nurmagomedov by unanimous decision. Nikita Krylov versus Bogdan Guskov. Krylov, 30-10. He's 2-3 in his last five. good kickboxer with some good submission capabilities. Bogdan Guskov, Anthony Smith. He looks like Anthony Smith's like bastard son or something, dude. I don't know. He's 17-3, 3-1 inside the UFC, 14 knockouts, and 100% finish rate in all his wins. I got Krylov by split decision. Guskov has always looked bad in his fights before he catches whoever he's fighting. I don't think Krylov is going to get caught, though. But this fight, it's 50-50 for me. I think it could go either way. I'm picking Krylov by split submission, but I wouldn't be surprised if Bogdan Guskov finishes him. So this is kind of my copping out pick. I am picking Krylov, but don't hold it against me if Guskov wins. Asu Almabayev versus Jose Ochoa. Almabayev 21-3, 4-1 in his last 5. He's actually a pretty strong wrestler for 125 with pretty good cardio. 8-1. Jose Ochoa is 8-1, 1-1 inside the UFC. He's actually a pretty scary kickboxer with a 100% finish rate in all his wins. But I think he's gonna come out there swinging. But I think even though he's gonna come out there swinging, I think Almabayev isn't gonna get cracked. I don't think he's gonna get finished. I think he takes him down, just holds him there for most of the fight, and wins through like a control time is all that happened. So he gets the unanimous decision. So Asu Almabayev by unanimous decision. Shara Magomedov versus Marc-Andre Barriault. Barriault 17-9, 2-3 in his last 5. He actually has some pretty nasty clinch work. In his last fight, that's why his sweeps look good. In his last fight, he had a pretty crazy sweep. I remember that. I forget who he fought last time, but his sweep was. I just remember that sweep. It was pretty good. Shara Magomedov, 15-1, 4-1 in his last 5. His only loss in his whole career is to MVP. And he's a kickboxer who kind of keeps fighters at range with kicks. He does throw some crazy stuff sometimes, like that double back fist spinning move. That was actually sick. I got Magomedov by unanimous decision. I think he just keeps Barriault at range with the kicks and wins a decision. But I think he will land some crazy shit in the middle of the fight. It's not going to KO Marc-Andre Barriault, but I think it'll look cool in a highlight reel. So I got Magomedov by unanimous decision. The co-main event, Petr Yan versus Marcus McGee. I just gotta say, Marcus McGee is one of the ugliest dudes I've ever seen, dude. It's like, you're fucking fighting. You're gonna be a little bit ugly. You're getting punched in the face, but he's like real ugly, dude. I don't know. Petr Yan, he's 18-5, 2-3. He should be 3-2. I think he beat O'Malley. I'm not gonna go out there and cry robbery, but I do think he won that fight against O'Malley. So he is 2-3 in his last 5, but technically should be 3-2 in my opinion. He's kind of a jack of all trades. He's good everywhere, but I guess I wouldn't call him a jack of all trades because he's arguably the best boxer in the UFC. So he does excel in one thing, but he does do everything decently. Marcus McGee, he's 10-1 inside the UFC, or he's 10-1. He's 4-0 inside the UFC. He didn't look that good against Martinez when they bumped him up in competition. And I don't know why they're bumped. Petr Yan should not be fighting down right now. Petr Yan, realistically, should be fighting Sean O'Malley or Corey Sandhagen for a title eliminator. But they're going to do Corey versus Merab, so Merab doesn't have to wait. But even then, he shouldn't be fighting Marcus McGee. He should be fighting Sean O'Malley. But what they're doing is they're praying. Dana's sitting in his room. He's just praying, please, 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 Corey Sandhagen, please beat Merab so then they can do Sean O'Malley for another title shot. Hopefully Merab wins so O'Malley doesn't get an unearned title shot again. But they should have been doing the rematch of Petr Yan versus Sean O'Malley. That being said, I got Yan by unanimous decision. Yan, he's just good everywhere. And McGee isn't going to catch him, in my opinion. He's too good defensively. Again, he's arguably the best boxer in the UFC. That includes defensively, not just offensive boxing. So I don't think he's going to get caught by Marcus McGee. And Petr Yan's a better grappler. He has started implementing the wrestling a lot more in his recent fights. So I think Petr Yan by a pretty dominant unanimous decision where he wins all 3 rounds of the fight. Clearly wins all 3 rounds of the fight. So Yan by unanimous decision. Next, on to the main event of the evening, Robert Whittaker versus RDR, Reiner de Ridder. The Dricus du Plessis regen. You go on FIFA, you type in Dricus. Dricus is the 90 overall. You're in the championship, so you can't afford Dricus, so you buy Reiner de Ridder as an 18-year-old. He develops into Dricus. You know what I'm talking about in FIFA? Robert Whittaker, he's 27-8, but he's been at the top of the middleweight division for such a long time. So that 27-8, those 8 losses, you can cut him some slack. He's 3-2 in his last 5. Those 2 losses are to Dricus du Plessis, who's the current champ and arguably the 3rd greatest middleweight ever, and Khamzat Chimaev, who is fighting for the title next in May and has a good chance of winning the title. He's a crafty vet kickboxer. You know what I'm talking about. He comes in, he does the 1-2 head kick combo. He does sort of struggle with high level pressure wrestling. He's struggled against Dricus, but that's just because Dricus' style is so weird, and he struggled against Khamzat. Both of them were grappling, high pressure, going at Whittaker in those fights with the grappling. Khamzat obviously got the submission off very early. Khamzat, though, is arguably the greatest, pressure grappler in the history of the UFC, just based off pure skill. And Dricus, his fight style is so weird. If he wants to do that pressure grappling on you, there's not much you can do. He's hard to figure out. So he does struggle with the pressure grappling, but he doesn't struggle with just any grappler putting on the pressure. Reiner de Ridder, he's 20-2. He's a former 2-division double champ in ONE FC. He's 3-0 in the UFC. His 2 losses come to the same guy in ONE. I forget his name. I should remember. That's not important. His 2 losses come to the same guy in ONE. Other than that, he's undefeated. He's like a judo BJJ kind of guy. He'll get you down using the judo, and he'll submit you. He's, again, like I said earlier, he's the Dricus regen, but for grappling. Dricus kind of has that. He has goofy everything, but he's more of a goofy. His striking is what really looks goofy. I think this guy's the opposite. He is goofy everywhere, but his grappling is what really makes him look goofy. And he's big for 185. He's 6'4". I think he's probably the same size as Adesanya, if not bigger. But he's big for 185. I got RDR by submission. I think he's going to get beaten up a little bit by Bobby Knuckles on the feet, but I think he just manages to get him down at some point in the fight, probably in the later 3rd or 4th, 5th round. And even though he's losing, he's down however many rounds. I think he just pulls off a Hail Mary submission, especially because Whittaker, especially after getting his jaw broken, he's going to be a lot more timid in the grappling. He's going to be focusing more on protecting the chokes that could hurt his jaw. And Reiner de Ridder could probably get an arm bar off or some other crazy submission that he does. Yeah, those are my picks. I got RDR by submission. And those are my picks for UFC Fight Night Whittaker versus Reiner de Ridder.